Hello everybody and welcome back to the peaceful, calm, serene world of Timberborn. It's a pretty boring episode, I'm going to be honest. I've hit a bit of a problem in the game where everything just takes a little bit longer because I've got to get colonies going and get resources going. But what I didn't realise when I started this game was we've got 20 food. We have run out of food, and that's basically because there's too many beavers to support the amount that are eating it. And the only way to deal with that is to build more farms and more food, obviously. And that was not going to be the point of this video. This video was going to be focused on our new district. So there's a little bit of panic, there's a bit of creating irrigation, and there's a bit of a plan for the future to make a new district that is focused purely on food production. We can see there the dam, the great dam reservoir in the background with the aqueduct that goes across to the top of it, and that's going to store water to be able to feed the districts to the left and right. And the district we've been focusing on to the right is the iron one. We are going to need a lot of scrap metal and metal facilities in order to be able to build all of these really large structures and tube lines and everything else for the future game. So here it is. This is the new district. This is the metal district. It's got unlimited metal that's pulled out at the back. But first we're gonna deal with that little bit of emergency that happened and look at our irrigation of our farmland and work that out. So here I'm just looking at the dam of how to make a hole in it without losing all the water out of it like I did last time. It's a little bit messy, but the only way I could do it is build that sluice gate on the outside there, mainly because I didn't plan for the future, but we'll fix that later. We've just got to be really careful when putting holes in the side of these reservoirs for obvious reasons. If this floods, it is going to flood the starting area, and that's in a crater, and I have no runoff. I should probably be thinking about building an emergency runoff corridor just in case one of those dams does explode. That will probably be the end of the beavers. It will fill that hole up, and it would take so long to pump the water out of there. It would take forever. I mean, luckily I've got those 6 pumps that are doing it, and the electricity's provided somewhere else, but I don't even want to do that. I don't even want to think about it. So I've opened up the sluice. Here comes the water, satisfying part when you do this. And look at all of this new farmland that we have that our beavers can now plant and get more food. It's still not going to be enough. I decide to also move down and create irrigation on the level below. I mean, look how hungry they all are. It's so depressing to see that. This is skipped a bit forward where I go, okay, I'm going to use the levels below and create irrigation streams around the outside of that as well. And it starts to become a little bit of a problem because I've got to change that floodgate to a sluice. I've got to work out how to keep these levels with water without them flooding. It's a good problem to work out. And this is me just being silly, not really paying attention to what I was doing, and putting 2 dynamites everywhere before I realised, actually, I don't need 2 everywhere, I only need it in one place, so I delete that back again. So the full playthrough video, I used to call them the long videos, but I'm going to call them playthroughs now. That's kind of what they are. If we get a community together that's actually interested in this sort of content, I'll probably head over to Twitch and stream this stuff live. But I'm trying to build the community up at the moment, and as you know, I would love to spend days editing these videos and making crazy content with all of these stories, but life's not really there at the moment, and I'm learning the videos, I'm learning how to content create, I'm learning how all the software works. So this is a bit of a experimental journey for me, and I think the next game I'm going to try and play through is Castle Story. I don't know if any of you watching it know that game. I fell in love with it. I became obsessed with it. It's a bit glitchy. The developers gave up on the game, but we might go to that. So this was a nice, happy coincidence. I want to create a new food district, and in order to be able to do that, I wanted to connect the tube line to it to make it easy to get through. And where I'd created this dam just created this beautiful straight line that I could bring the tube line through and connect that all together. And that's what you see me doing here. The new food district is going to be to the northwest of this area, and here I'm just trying to work out how to make it as cleanly as I possibly can to get across to it. I also decided that I should probably put another train station halfway through this. And as we get to the other districts and the design starts to get a little bit more silly, we'll start doing some crazy stuff with power and tube lines. And speaking of crazy, this video does get a little bit silly. I decided to create a interesting water solution for our new metal district at the back, and that's going to be come up soon. So speaking of that, let's go over to the new district and see where we are, how much progress has been made. Well, as soon as that tube line was completed, a lot of progress at the front was made. It slowed down when they started to have to build the levees. It's always going to if you don't have a scaffold structure. But I thought, you know what, let's carry on the development of this and start to put in some birthing pods. With all of these districts, I want them to be self-sufficient. When we do open a new district, I think I'm going to bring a new rule into the PERMADEATH series, and that is when a drought hits, I am not allowed to move any beavers from district to district. They have to stay where they are. I think that will make it a little bit interesting. And also it stops me from cheating by doing what I was doing before, by making sure one district always has enough beavers to survive. As soon as a drought comes, the water they have in that district is what they've got to get through. Now, it doesn't mean that if that district dies, that's game over. One district has to survive in order to be able to feed the others after that. But that's the new rule I'm going to do. So here I'm just planning the water and putting floodgates in just in case, and making a nice path that goes around. And I started to come to that realization of how am I going to get water here. The left of the levee here is going to be Greenland, and to the right of it is going to be clear water. Well, that was a fun noise. Now I sped that up. It's going to be clear water. So that's going to be an interesting problem, and I solve it by starting to do a really silly water system. But more on that in a little bit later. What you're seeing here is I'm working out the district crossing. So when you put a district crossing in, everything, all the resources that aren't naturally produced in the district that you're supplying has to have its own storage, otherwise they will not bring it. This drove me crazy when I first got the game. I had dynamite, and I thought they would bring the dynamite to the district crossing, and they would just use it. They don't. They will only bring materials to the district crossing that has storage inside the district. So if you want dynamite, you have to make storage inside the new district's boundaries for them to bring it. And later on, when I get the district crossing in, I'll probably go into that a little bit further, because that drove me mad when I first got the game. I was thinking, why aren't they bringing the materials in? So because they're making metal here, wooden planks and things, I'm not going to have to make special storage for that. So now here comes the crazy design. I'm trying to work out, how do I bring water to this area as quickly as I possibly can? And what I mean by that is, when the game advances and a big drought happens, and when I mean a big drought, I'm talking 100 day followed by 20 days nice and another 100 day, that reservoir is going to be empty. So when water does come, you want to deliver it here as in day one. And I'm starting to plan ahead for that. And I came up with this crazy sort of aqueduct, dam, pretty waterfall feature thing in the side of this levee. I'm right now creating an aqueduct that's going to be fed underground to the large reservoir at the back. That's going to bring water down here into this structure, and then I've got dams that are going to flood out into this area. And I think they will stop when they get covered up, because there are no sluices that are going to control this. It's purely going to be controlled by pressure. I don't know if it's going to work, but if it works, it will look really cool. So this is me connecting it to the dam. I nailed it. Complete luck where this comes up. Wasn't really planned. And then there will be sluices at the bottom, so when that aqueduct does flood and can't get any more water, it will stop the water going in there. Just because, in case anything happens down here, I don't want to lose all of the water out of that reservoir. I want to be able to stop the water flowing out of it. And we've seen why earlier on in the PERMADEATH series, when I used dynamite and I didn't realise there was an underground cavern. If I had a quick way to turn a sluice off, I wouldn't have lost nearly as much water as I did. I still can't believe that wasn't the end of the series quite there, honestly. That was insane. So another thing I'm thinking about is I actually want to have water in that top area as well. I want to have water in that top area. And this is a way that you can do it. When the other aqueduct fills with water, all of those sluices are going to let water out. Well, you can create individual aqueducts inside the reservoir, which will take water very quickly to a sluice midway up the structure. I know that sounds really crazy to say, because when you look at it, you're thinking, well, there's not a lot of water in here. We are going to dynamite and excavate all of this reservoir down to the ground. So I do need to have an aqueduct that's midway up, that's delivering water on day one, to be able to get water back to this top layer where I'm putting dynamite now, because this is going to be a massive food source up here. And when this opens and water starts flowing, it's going to be a lot more obvious what I'm kind of doing there. But the point is, as soon as water comes into that reservoir, it will take water out to the places that it needs to quickly. Otherwise it could take 100 days to fill that reservoir before it gets up to the level where the water can come out. So here we are back in our metal district, and I'm just working out here that I'm going to need to be able to store the scrap metal and the metal, and I'm coming to the realization that I'm also going to need a lot of metal factories. It would make sense to just build the metal blocks locally and then export them out of this district. I'm kind of planning that right now and putting in these storage areas. I can't do much until I've blown out the area above where you can see the dynamite. That's probably where the metal factories are going to go. And you know, this is starting to really come together. As soon as we've got all the housing built and everything there, it's going to be able to support the beavers. It'll have water, it'll have pumps, it'll have storage. It won't have food immediately, although I'm thinking of planting some basic food to the right. It'll have berries. It'll have extract provided from other colonies. But then I realized to myself, actually, with all of that metal factories that are going to be built, I'm going to run out of power. I am producing 9,700 and I am using 9,200 right now. So any new water pumps to power the big reservoir at the back, any new factories are going to take that over the top. So it's time to extend our quite already impressive power wheels using the badwater. So I have to take the water to the right, which is which those wheels are, do a U-bend, and then bring the water all the way back, do another U-bend to bring all the water back again, to then allow it to exit off the map. And you can see that that build there, it's going to take forever. It's going to take a long time. And at this point of the game, this is kind of what I'm saying, it kind of stagnates a little bit on its development, because you don't have enough resource, you don't have enough beavers, and until we get those new districts up and running, it's going to take a while before we see any major new developments to this colony. But I'm excited about it. You know, we've made it through to episode 7. They are all alive. We had some pretty scary moments for there on the early ones. I think they will make it through the next drought. We only have 150 beavers. We can't make any more because they're dying of starvation now. And we're going to fix that. We're going to make some big farms. We're going to get the metal district open on the next episode. I know I said that on the episode before, but it's the food kind of threw me off. A lot of beavers died. I didn't have enough builders to kind of achieve it. So until then, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.